Hey, this is Michael Lindsay from Vital MX. I'm out here at Fox Raceway today with a 2022 Kawasaki KX250. I decided to throw together a little project bike with this one, and what I mean by little is I didn't want to go overboard at a ton of brands. I just focused on a few key items based on what was my downsides during our shootout this year. I just want to fix a few things on the bike and try not to go all in sense of budget. The brands that you see involved with this is Racetech, VP, FMF, Pirelli, Motul, and Air Graphics, and that's it. Starting with Racetech, because they did the brunt of the work on this machine. They revalved and resprung the front and rear suspension, and they also did a chunk of engine work for us. On the suspension side, the Kawi 250 struggled for me a bit in shootout. The forks were very harsh. It was a little bit soft in the rear for my weight at the moment. I was struggling to balance the bike, and once I got it balanced, I just kind of kept fighting the front end feel. So told the guys at Racetech my feedback. They ended up stiffening the shock a bit and got it where it rode up in the stroke a little better, put a little bit better pressure on the front end. And they also changed up the front end setting. They still kept it fairly stiff, in my opinion. I can ride it fairly aggressively out here, Paul, on both the vet and main tracks. But at the same time, they got rid of just that harsh point that I was looking for, especially when we're talking about the bigger obstacles. Out on the main track, bigger jumps, more aggressive braking sections was really fantastic there. On the vet track, it was a tick on the stiff side still, but it was easy to adjust out, going 2 or 3 clicks softer on compression. Overall, the balance was there at 104 millimeters of sag. I was extremely comfortable. And really, they did everything I asked for, just bringing up that little bit of stiffness in the rear, the balance, and cleaning up the front end feel. As for the engine, the Kawi had a huge update last year, and they really moved all the power upstream. As a lot of manufacturers are doing now, the bike is very linear. It's a little lacking on the bottom. It comes on in the mid-range, and it builds through this super top end and just screams out. Honestly, during the show, what caught me off guard is it's very similar to the KTM or like the Gas, where you just have to wring its neck. It's very rewarding up there, but it wasn't what I was looking for. The older Kawis were a little bit more punchy down low. They were more fun, a little bit snappier and raspier, and I felt like this bike was missing that. So they went through and did mostly a lot of head work. It has some epoxy work done to the ports, port and polish. They've done the valve seats in it. They've also advanced the cams a little bit on the bike. They wouldn't exactly give us that spec, of course. Added some valve springs and some one-piece valves to their spec and design. The compression ratio, however, is stock, as they've retained the stock Kawi 250 piston, the stock deck height, really kind of alleviating any issues or worry we do about reliability. And all this capped off having a bike that has way more low to mid punch. There is gains across the board, but I was genuinely impressed how much more exciting the bike was. It really just solved my issue with the bike. It was so lethargic down low. I felt like I was constantly having to keep it up on the RPM and be on the clutch. Now the bike barks to life. If anything, especially on the tighter vet track, I was actually having issues with it breaking loose a lot in second gear because the mid-range was just so much more explosive feeling. We played around a little bit with some of the map settings on the Vortex they built for me to calm it down in the tighter tracks, but out on the big open main track, it was absolutely excellent. I've gotten to work with Racetech on a few project bikes in the engine department, and everything I've rode from has been very solid so far, but this bike in particular is probably the one that they've done the most engine character change to. The other ones have always been, it's a bit better everywhere. But this one, the low to mid is so much more aggressive. Like I said, it really, to me, changed the character of the engine and just really brought a lot more fun factor into this machine for me. The overall mix of work we did was about a little over $2,000 to the engine. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, you can just call them up. They'll tell you what they need sent in. Do we need the heads, the valves, cams, everything from the bike? They'll tell you for that spec and for your budget what they need. You send it in, and they can even line you up with a local Racetech center to do the assembly and disassembly of your motor if required. Outside of this, the mapping for the Vortex, the Racetech setup on this, we had a map for VP Pro 6 and also for T4. The Pro 6 is definitely a lot snappier, a lot more responsive and aggressive feeling. The T4 is a little bit subdued, but of course a lot easier on the wallet and is what I preferred to run mostly. Full FMF pipe just cleaned up the raspy tone of the stock Kawi a little bit, and it added a little bit of mid-range performance and dropped the weight as we were able to hook it up with a full titanium system. We also ran all Motul chemicals through the bike, and I swapped out the stock tires for Pirelli MX32 Scorpions mid-soft, updated to a 110 rear tire. I really like the Pirellis on 250Fs due to the rear tire being a bit on the lighter side compared to some of the competition, and it helps keep the bike feeling really free for throttle response. It doesn't feel so weighted at the rear of the motorcycle. Lastly, Era hooked it up with a kit that's just real clean, real plain. Just highlight a few of the brands, threw a little bit of color in the motorcycle, but like I said, I really didn't want to take away from the stock Kawi that much. We didn't change out any of the ergos, any of the handling really with the bike. We just focused on suspension, engine, and making this bike honestly a lot more fun to ride than the stock machine. If you like this project bike, you have any questions, throw them down in the comment section below. We'll get back to you with some answers. If you like our content, make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe so you make sure you don't miss out on any more bike projects like this, race coverage, factory bikes, all the good stuff we do here at Vital MX and on our website at vitalmx.com. Thanks for watching.